Here to stay up to date on the RC hobby. You came to the right place, so stick around and let's go ahead and get to this week's updates. Alright, so first updates for this week, we're going to talk about some new product releases from Traxxas, Team Associated, and Losi. Let's get started with the Traxxas first. So this week, the Traxxas Funco Sand Car came out, and I'll be honest, this was totally out of left field and something I had no idea would be something that Traxxas would do. But over the years, they've started to lean into more of the scale type of stuff, and this Traxxas Funco Sand Car is something just totally unique. Especially at that size and scale, really being about as big as an X-Max. But the crazy thing about this car is that it's a two-wheel drive platform with that large a scale, which is you just don't see very often anymore. It is based kind of loosely off the XRT platform, except now instead of a four-wheel drive, it's two-wheel drive, and we got a motor set up in the rear with the transmission. Just the thing is totally unique. The pro scale look to it, with the cage, the different pro scale items, it really looks like the real one-to-one car. And then the crazy thing about this, which I know I don't have on the screen, but the braking system, being that it's a rear motor car, at that scale, they actually added functional disc brakes to the front of it, which is just crazy cool and adds to the realism of the car. So I can't say enough great things about it. It's a very interesting vehicle to check out. And so far from what I could tell, it looks like it's going to come in around $12.99 in price. And you can definitely be for sure, you will find that on fastrc.net price tracking dashboard. You can actually, if you go on there, I actually already have it on the dashboard. But very exciting release. Definitely interested to see this thing up close when I get a chance to go to the hobby shop. All right, so on to the next vehicle. Next, we have the Losi 22S Sprint Car that was released just before this Traxxas Funco car. I'm a little bit late to the game on talking about this one, but I wanted to talk about it because it's once again another RTR model that just has crazy scale potential. I was pretty impressed when I saw this thing and just how much time and effort Losi took into making a really functional sprint car at the 1/10 scale. But the ultra scale look of this thing, kind of like the Funco car, like they went above and beyond to make sure this thing looks like the real one-to-one sprint car. I was even more impressed to find out that it has the offset chassis, which of course, if you're in sprint cars, you're only going to turn left. So they kind of gear everything to the outside wheel to handle weight distribution. And in this RC model, they actually do have an offset chassis to handle weight distribution, which is really cool. It's also convertible to wingless mode. So the wings on the top, which are actually a hard plastic and not Lexan, they actually can be removed to run a separate class of wingless sprint cars. Another cool thing I wanted to talk about this vehicle is, and if you follow my channel for any amount of time, I'm big on new models coming out and the type of parts that they add to the market that you could potentially use in other custom builds. This thing has a new size of wheels and tires. If I'm not mistaken, it has a 2.2 inner diameter and I think a 1.7 inch outer diameter. So that's mildly interesting to me in case I'm looking to do some type of custom build with those type of wheels and tires. Not saying I will, but always nice to have new stuff. And then the last thing I want to talk about this Losi 22 Sprint Car is the price point. I actually thought $349 is not too bad for this car, to be honest. To come in at a base price of $349.99, I don't hate it. We'll put it that way. It's not bad. Actually, pretty good price. And of course, you can already find this car on my fastrc.net RC price tracker dashboard. It's there. I would imagine after a few months, you might see this thing on sale, and who knows, it probably gets close to $299, be my guess. So, all right, on to the next vehicle that we're going to talk about, and that is going to be the Team Associated RC10 6x6. So I saw this thing pop up a couple days ago. I like swiped past it, ignored it, and then eventually later in the day, I looked a little bit harder and said, hey, that's actually like a new vehicle. But it looks like Team Associated is taking the RC10 name, flipping it upside down on its head, and going with a 6x6 street diesel truck version. All I can say is this is just a really interesting build kit. This actually is not an RTR. It is an actual build kit that you'll have to put together. Looking at some of the images, you can definitely see where the RC10 inspiration comes from with the orange chassis and the white injection molded plastics. But it is definitely not an RC10. This thing looks a little bit more beefed up. And in the intro video I saw from Team Associated, they definitely talked about how they had to beef up the drivetrain for, modern brushless systems. With all that said, I know it's not really like an RC10. It's kind of its own thing, but I love the diesel truck body. Like I don't know what it is about that body. I just think it's really cool. I know it's probably kind of dorky to some people, but I look at it, and with a 3D printer, I see like a ton of potential of things to add to that truck to make it look just even crazier. Like anything like wings and spoilers, or 3D printing exhaust pipes, or big, exhaust stacks out the sides. This thing has tons of potential, and I don't know, it may not be like that great of a truck to drive. I know on the video you can kind of tell it has a tough time steering because of how much grip it has in the rear, but I don't really care. I just think it looks really cool, and I kind of want one just purely for the novelty of it. And so something to take a look at. Last thing I'll talk about that model is the price. I do think the price is a little bit high for a kit, being $379.99. It's not, like egregiously high, but this will be a kind of model that I'll be on the lookout here, later on this year to see if it drops in price at all. Also too, like I said in the other two products, of course this model is going to be on the RC price tracking dashboard, so feel free to check it out. You'll see where it starts off at $379.99, and hopefully that price drops later on. Alright, so this next segment, let's save some cash, and we got to talk about some RC sales that are going on this week that you might want to check out. So first off, let's talk about Traxxas. Traxxas actually has had a spring sale going on most of this month in March, where you can save some cash on the Traxxas Slash Ultimate 4x4, which is about $100 off. I think regular price $499.99. Now at $399.99 with $100 off. Also the Traxxas Rustler Ultimate, which has also been $100 off. As far as I could tell, I don't know when that sale is going to end, but it's still going right now at the time of this video. I just checked the prices today. It's still active. Also from Traxxas, there is a deal on the Traxxas TRX4 High Trail Edition vehicles that you could find at also $100 off of each of the High Trail Edition models, such as like the 72 Chevy K5 Blazer, the K10 truck body, and then also the High Trail Sport Editions also on sale, I think 14% off. A lot of good sales from Traxxas right now. Usually, I feel like in the past you didn't see a lot of sales from Traxxas quite like this, but like I said, these sales on these specific models, the High Trail Editions, the Slash Ultimate, and the Rustler Ultimate, have been on sale for most of March, and as far as I can tell, they're still going on sale for now, so you might want to check it out. Next sale I want to talk about from Traxxas is they just released a sale on their BL2S Slash models, where if you purchase a Traxxas Slash BL2S, you can get a battery and charger combo with it for free. That sale is actually, from what I could tell, is on the Traxxas website, so you might want to check out that site. If you're looking at getting a Traxxas Slash BL2S, you might get a free battery and charger with it. Alright, so next sale to talk about, we have a sale this week that's starting on the Losi Promoto Mx's. It looks like, doesn't matter which model you pick, whether it's the regular Losi Promoto Mx or it's the Supermoto, all of those models are going to be $80 off no matter which one you pick. Even if it comes with a battery and charger, still $80 off. That's coming out to around a 13 to 14% discount, which is a pretty decent discount, for being honest. But take a look, it's on Horizon Hobby and on Amain Hobbies, got the same sales going at the same times. But like I said, Losi Promoto Mx is on sale, $80 off, doesn't matter which model you pick. Alright, so those are some of the bigger sales that I want to talk about from Traxxas and from Losi. This next segment is going to be the sales roundup, where I cover a lot of the smaller models and other sales that are not a part of like a bigger sales group. So we are going to go to my dashboard, take a look at that, and go through the list and take a look at the biggest sales that we got out there right now from Amain and Horizon Hobbies. Alright, so here we are at the FastRC.net dashboard. Like I said, I urge you guys to take a look at this dashboard, take a look at the website. Specifically, this page for current sales is a really nice page to look at, and is going to show you the biggest sales across Amain and Horizon Hobbies when it comes to specific RTR models. Especially on a lot of the biggest brands, you'll see I have Team Associated, Arma, Traxxas, all the big brands. So let's take a look. At the top of the list at 43% off, we have the DR10 electric drag race kit. I know drag racing's not really the hotness nowadays, but if you're looking to get a drag racing car, especially in a kit version from Team Associated, now might be a good time to do that. 43% off, final price being $149.99. Just below that, we have the team associated RB10 RTR coming in at $289.99, which is 40% off. That model's a little bit weird. It's kind of like spiked in price over the last week at back to $489.99 and then dropped back down to $290. So I'm not sure what's going on there. But if you're interested in that vehicle, it seems like a good time to pick it up. Kind of going through, we have a lot of other team associated stuff. Another RB10, we got an RC10 factory team kit, which is on sale for 35% off. When you're looking at this chart, you see a negative number here. It means 35%, basically, negative percentage points. Taking a look, we have a rival MT8 4x4. Seems like a pretty cool truck. I've actually heard a lot of really good things about the rival MT8 monster truck. And right now you could pick it up at Amain and Hobbies for $350, which is pretty nice. 31% discount. We have a couple vehicles from the Losi Mini B 16th two-wheel drive buggies, which are on sale for $119.99, 25% off from their normal price. Got a couple more team associated, the Apex Rallies, got Datsun 240Zs. These are some on-road cards if you're interested in that. And let's keep on rolling. Here's all the Traxxas stuff that I was talking about earlier. We got the Traxxas Ultimate VXL Brushless, which is 20% off at $100, which is a pretty nice sale. We got the Rustler Ultimate, same thing, 18, almost 19% off, but also $100 off. And then rolling through, you can see the Traxxas High Trail Editions. All of those are 18% off, which is still $100 off. We got a Kyosho Phaser here, which is on sale 14%, almost 15% at $289.99 for the '69 Chevy El Camino. Also got the Traxxas TRX4 Sport High Trail Editions, which are 14% off. Looks like those are $50 off of the regular price at $299.95. And then if you just keep rolling through here, I won't go through all of these, but you can see the Losi Promoto Mx's that I talked about, which every single model is $80 off. That's also here on the chart, clocking in about 13 to 14% off. We got some Element Enduros, some more Losis. Like I said, I won't go through every single one of these, but I urge you guys to take a look at this page. Like I said, this dashboard is free to use. Just go to fastrc.net, take a look at current sales, and see if you find anything you like. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at scratch and dent stuff next. All right, and we're on to scratch and dent. I know I talked about this in my previous video explaining this dashboard, but this week we did have some new scratch and dent vehicles that popped up onto this chart. In particular, this Element RC Enduro is looking like a 13% discount. So if you're looking to get an Element on sale or slightly discounted with the IFS system, this truck has it, and it's almost 13% off. And like I said, I won't go through all of these, but we do have some other models that popped in here this week, like the Arma Fire Team, which is a scratch and dent model coming in at $591.99, along with some other Kyoshos. Got another Fire Team. Like I said, I'd urge you guys to take a look at this list. There's always stuff popping in and out of this list all the time. Thing to keep in mind on the scratch and dent list, also like the current sales list, this updates every seven days. And as these models drop off from Amain's website, they'll no longer show up on this chart once the 7-day refresh kicks in. But looks like we got some decent options out there this week. I urge you guys to take a look. And so that's it for this section. All right, so that's going to do it for the first episode of RC Weekly. Like I talked about in the beginning of this episode, this is going to be a weekly series that I do where I do RC price updates, price drops, current sales, new products, if there is any for me to report. But really just doing this for the RC community to provide some value to you guys, especially with nowadays with all the prices going up that we've seen in the last month, with prices going up with Armas, Losis, team associated stuff has gone up quite a bit from what I've seen. It's my way of giving back to the RC community. It's a way of tracking prices. Like I talked about in my previous video, this dashboard that I have is free to use. It updates every week. And I think as more time goes on, this dashboard is going to become more and more valuable. So I definitely urge you guys to take a look at it. If you enjoyed this weekly update content, and you enjoy the dashboard or you get some value out of it, if you don't mind, I would appreciate if you could like and subscribe, help out the channel. Trying to grow this thing a little bit bigger and trying to help you guys out. But that's all I got for this week, and like I said, next week will be episode 2 of RC Weekly, so I'll see you there.